This is one of the first reviews in the world of Starlux First Class. Operated on just a handful of routes and introduced just a few years ago, can it stack up against regional heavyweights like Singapore Airlines and ANA? This is one of the most expensive and exclusive first class products in the world, giving you access to a private VIP terminal and some of the best ground services that exist. However, your seat is actually in the business class cabin with no separation. So is it worth it with one of the highest commercial flight price tags in the world? Come along to find out with me, Dan, the luckiest guy in the world who turned my hobby of aviation into my full-time job, reviewing airlines now for over a decade, flying almost every major first class product to bring you my honest, self-funded opinions. Good morning, guys, from Taipei. I am here at the hotel. It is 6:30 a.m. and I am waiting for my pickup to take me to the VIP terminal. There are so many unique things about flying this airline in first class, including that you don't need to use the regular passenger terminal. You get to use the same terminal as celebrities and politicians. So let's head there and see what that is like before we board. The adventure actually starts with an email from your own personal Starlux concierge after booking. They help you confirm your preferred method of departure, regular terminal or VIP, and your free airport transfers. Sure enough, at 6:30 a.m. as decided, my Toyota Alphard is there to take me to sit alone in the VIP. We pull up and my personal VIP agent escorts me to the entrance of the lounge through private security and immigration up to the lounge restaurant. By the way, obviously you can add this to any ticket on any airline in Taipei. It's just that Starlux has chosen to include this in the very high price of its tickets. This restaurant turns out to be one of my favorite first-class lounge-esque dining experiences ever. They have some Western food, but of course, you gotta have Taiwanese food here. So I order 4 dishes, as one does. Oh, we made it to the I was gonna say the first class lounge. That's not even where we are. We are in the VIP terminal. I've got the most beautiful tray with a Starlux like sugar logo, some Earl Grey tea, a little towel. Oh, the train went right by outside. I have planes taking off. This is so exciting. VIP terminals are truly a step apart from the rest when it comes to no stress, no anxiety. You're just completely relaxed and taken care of. And if every trip could be like this, I would wish that it was. So cheers. So Starlux actually gives you a choice whether you want to use the VIP terminal or whether you want to use their first class terminal in the airport. But obviously this is the superior choice if you're originating or ending your trip in Taipei. Okay, I'm starting out with some beauty red day tea because I was like, hello, when I saw that on the menu, I needed to try. And then a hazelnut oat milk latte. Nice. I love it. Very sweet. And this it checks that box. Okay, so I've got, well, first of all, I have scallion pie, as they call it, which I'm going to start with. By the way, the service here is 10 out of 10. Everyone knows where I'm going. Everyone already knows my dietary restrictions. You just get superior food when you're flying in this region. I know some people prefer European cuisine. That's perfectly fair, but for me, this is where it's at. Wow, this has goji berries, lion's mane mushroom, vermicelli noodles. Wow, it's gingery, savory. Lion's mane mushroom is quite meaty. The perfect pre-flight bowl of warmth. Oh my god, guys, I'm getting lightheaded. I'm so stuffed already. But we have got a tower of dumplings to devour. There's no rest on review days. Assorted dumplings here. No idea what's gonna be inside. Wow. Bet you didn't think you'd be joining me for the first mukbang on Nonstop Dan today, but here we are. Again, you come to Taipei to eat, so why not eat, right? I had to ask them, what other facilities do you have besides the restaurant? I found out they have this little room upstairs with a treadmill, an elliptical, and a massage chair. So, this is a very luxurious massage chair. Okay, I'm done with the massage, guys. I just want to quickly point out that all my reviews are self-funded. I paid for this flight myself in cash. It was one of the most expensive tickets I have ever booked, so I'll let you know more about that later, but everything I say is completely my opinion, unbiased.
That's my opinion!
All right, I'm back downstairs. We're gonna head to the aircraft in a second. I just have to show you guys something before we do. Something that happened last night. 1 million subscribers. I don't even know what to say besides thank you so much for your support and for always tuning in to watch my videos. It truly means the world to me, and I wouldn't be here without you, so thank you for that. More to come on this topic. At this point, my lovely Starlux agent Lauren comes to take me to the aircraft since I requested to board first. Well, I am shocked when I realize that the VIP terminal is literally just a section of the regular terminal, because it doesn't feel like that at all when you arrive. Okay, heading to the gate on a golf cart with my crew. There's a gym, a free gym in the terminal, which is awesome. So yeah, this is always a bit awkward. Running through the terminal on a golf cart with like a... Once at the gate, Lauren whisks me to the front of the line and takes me on board our beautiful 2-year-old A350-900. The Starlux A350 comes in a 4-class configuration with 26 business class seats between door 1 and 2. But wait, Dan, how on earth does an airline fit 26 business class seats in that space and also have first class? At the front of that business class cabin, we have 4 first class seats. In other words, the first row. This is essentially what most other airlines are calling a business class plus product, which you can pay extra to assign. Think everything from the Lufthansa Allegra suite to the JetBlue Mint Studio. You'll see just how mixed in with business class this cabin is as we get on board, but I should also mention that there is one lavatory at the front of the plane. This is kind of the first class lavatory, but business class can use it too, meaning you are essentially sharing 3 lavatories with business class for a ratio of 1 toilet to 10 passengers. Definitely an unusual ratio for first class, where it's more common to share a toilet with 3 or 4 other passengers at most. Obviously, I'm splitting hairs here, so let's hop on board and see how everything works in person. Welcome on board, friends. Question, is this business class or first class? Well, here is business class, which is right behind row 1, not super different as you can tell. The business class seat is absolutely breathtaking, one of the most cutting edge reverse herringbone seats out there. And then first class is obviously also breathtaking. I love the contrasts between light and dark with this gorgeous rose gold bronzy wall behind us. As you can tell, unlike every other first class product on the market at the moment, there are no bulkheads or curtains separating this cabin from business. How do you guys feel about that? I'm really curious to hear in the comments below if this style of first class is appealing to you, especially if the price was lower. Do you think we'll see more airlines go with this in the future? All right, you guys, welcome on board. Big, juicy hotel. No scent, but look at the steam. This feels good. It's a bit cold. So we are starting out with some cold pressed passion fruit juice. I think we could get any drink we wanted, but she recommended this. We also have some nuts to go with that. Nice. Okay, so just immediate impression is that the service is completely off the charts amazing. Everyone knows my name. Everyone addresses me by it when I go to the galley. It is like Singapore Airlines over the top. I love it. Let me show you around the seat. The most obvious thing is the frankly too big entertainment screen. It's 32 inches, but it feels more like 100 when you're sitting this close. Can you imagine if Starlux had installed a tail camera and we could watch it on this massive screen? Unfortunately, it seems like they didn't, which is such an unfortunate omission because it would literally feel like we were strapped to the tail. Underneath that, there's an Emirates style minibar, but with some really cool content. Fancy looking, including apple juice, green tea, non-alcoholic Heineken, sparkling water, and still Voss water. The best part for me since it tastes like Scandinavian tap water. Inside our giant footwell, we have our safety card and a full-on instruction sheet for how to use our wireless headphones. I'm pretty sure this comes in handy for the demographic that can usually afford to fly Starlux first class. Along the side, we have this really sleek surface where they've placed some chocolates with a note from the chairman. These are some luxury hotel vibes, and I love it. Besides that, there's a shallow locker with wireless charging, below which our charging port and USB-A and C outlets are located. The USB-C outlet is lightning fast. Finally, above the side console, there's a massive storage compartment with a remote and our headphones, as well as an enormous mirror to give you a nice little jump scare when you see yourself. If you didn't think that was enough storage, you also have your very own closet at the front of the seat. You can only access it from outside the seat, but it is massive, so storage will not be a concern in this seat, that is for sure. Overall, a fantastic place to sit by all measures, but it does feel strange to compare this to other first class seats when it's clearly not what we typically think of as a first class seat/suite. Taipei Taoyuan Airport has some of the worst congestion in Asia, so the good news is we're pushing back on time, and we'll also get about 45 minutes of ground time in this seat before we even take off. The quirky safety video plays and our captain does a PA to say, "My dear passengers, this is your captain speaking," and then he continues, he says the same thing, "my dear passengers," the whole flight, which I gotta say is pretty cute. If you're not interested in the menu, sorry, because we are about to deep dive, but this is one of the main aspects that sets Starlux First Class apart, so why not come along and see all the interesting things they do on board. On this 3-hour flight, we'll be served a 5 to 6 course meal. If you don't like Taiwanese food, this menu clearly has a heavy emphasis on that, but you can pre-order more options through Starlux online ordering system or through your personal first class concierge over email. That concierge system is something I really hope other airlines watching this will take note of. So what do you think of this menu? Are you intrigued? The drink list truly feels never ending, with thorough descriptions of most of the options. The fact that they have this many options for at most 4 first class passengers is wild, and you've only seen a fraction. In terms of cocktails, you can read an entire essay if you want. They also have some mocktails and, of course, soft drinks. Spirits, wines, sake, plenty of options there as well. They just keep going. Next up, we have Aquapana water, so much tastier than Evian in my opinion. And then tea, and so much tea. The size of these descriptions for each tea really makes you appreciate the thought that went into choosing each one. It also makes you wish you had way more time to be able to try everything. We're really talking about the finest teas in the world here. For those who prefer Western tea flavors, they've got that too with an equally elaborate section. That is, of course, followed by coffee with another extensive selection of types, and finally, the most luxurious juice selection I have ever seen in my life. The dry airlines of the world could really take some inspiration from Starlux here. This part of the menu reminds me of Japan and how they place so much emphasis on quality products. Something you take for granted, like an apple, can become something so fine. And finally, they have a few more juices and then a Starlux icon, which wasn't offered when I flew Taipei to Bangkok last year in business class, bubble tea, which of course originates in Taiwan. With such a big menu, I feel like it wouldn't harm to add dairy-free milk like oat or soy milk, but that is literally the only thing I can possibly think of that is not on here. At 9:45 a.m., we are up for takeoff and blast off toward Thailand. As soon as they're informed it's safe to do so, the crew come around and unlock everybody's doors. Now call me a princess because this door, I mean, it's kind of pointless. In business class, we've seen so many airlines introduce pointless doors that don't add privacy at all, but this is the first time I've seen that in first class, with a door where everyone can see in above it when they walk past, and there's also a massive gap at the front. The latter is sometimes required by regulators in certain layouts, but yeah, I'm happy to have a door, but my message to airlines is if you're gonna install a door, make sure it actually serves a purpose and isn't just there so you can say you have a door, then it just burns more fuel for no reason. Okay, listen, while we wait for the meal, if you have more than one credit card, you know how hard it is to keep track of all the different credits, of all the different points earnings on each one. It's not about how many cards you have, it's about using the right one. That is where today's video sponsor, Kudos, comes in. Kudos tells you exactly which card you need to use to get the most rewards before you swipe. It works online via a browser extension that will easily let you know exactly which card you need to use on any given store, and it will even auto-populate the recommended card upon checkout to make things easier. Or if you're shopping in store, just open up the Kudos app and their cheat sheet will instantly tell you which card you need to use. Kudos will also help you maximize every credit you have on your different credit cards. So for example, I was horrified to learn that I've been missing out on a credit that would cover my Disney Plus subscription that I get through my Amex Platinum. So Kudos immediately told me, Dan, you're wasting $240 a year here by paying for Disney Plus and not using this credit. So like that, boom, I saved $240. And that's pretty sweet for an app, which by the way is entirely free. You need to get Kudos if you're serious about that dream points redemption. So you can download Kudos today at the link at the top of the description or by scanning the QR code right here. Sign up using my code NonstopDan to get $20 back after your first eligible purchase. That is code NonstopDan, one word, to get $20 back. All right, we just took off. I just have to add some small details about the service and how amazing it is. In every single interaction, they address you by name. They're kneeling, so they're on your level or below your level and not towering over you as they talk, which I always think is such a lovely touch. One thing that I've never experienced before on any airline is that when you order a special meal, in this case, I pre-ordered a vegetarian oriental meal, I've never had them load multiple meal options before. The closest to that is Finnair Business, where they load 2 desserts on longer flights, so you get to choose. But here I got to choose an appetizer and desserts, and I could have both. So obviously I got both appetizers and both desserts. Weirdly, no choice for main course, but that's fine. I'm also going to be able to show you some of the other options from the menu, including one of Starlux' signature dishes, a Wagyu steak, I guess. Now, I love that Starlux really invests in most areas of their first class experience. That includes offering Sony XM5s to borrow during the flight. If you don't like those, you can also connect your own wireless earbuds to the entertainment system, which, speaking of that, is quite good. The movie selection is decent, the TV selection less so. I think they could benefit from adding a search feature, and here's an idea that most airlines don't use. How about letting people browse the current in-flight entertainment selection beforehand online? That way, if you see something you want to watch, you know if you should bring your own entertainment or not, and then if you found something you want to watch, design the system so that people can easily find that once they board. Now, turning a bit to the right, for better or worse, Starlux opted to install Airbus's relatively new dimmable windows, which are exponentially faster and more effective than the classic Dreamliner windows. I can't make sense of why airlines think that people hate traditional window shades though. Those simple old shades will always be preferable in my opinion. We're almost about to get into the meal. I just have to take you guys with me to the lavatory because this is one of the best things about Starlux. I love the greenery. I adore the smell of this very premium soap. We're talking higher prices than Aesop, but best of all is naturally Starlux's iconic toilet paper. I'm sure this makeup mirror is also appreciated by some people as well. Now let's get back to the seat and eat. Okay, the fun has truly begun. Starlux has some incredible, unique drinks. So here we have a Sauvignon white grape juice from France. Ooh, these glasses are incredible, so elegant. That tastes like apple juice. And then we have our little amuse-bouche. She explained what it was, but it's been a few minutes, so. Can you tell I'm torn about the amuse-bouche? The tableware, on the other hand, as you can see, is just next level beautiful. All right, time for appetizer 1 out of 2. This is an osmanthus lotus root salad, which is just so beautifully presented. I mean, this is the thing that for me makes Taipei catering so amazing, that it's like a true work of art. Look at this, the table adjusts all the way in front of me. Goodness, there's like a little packet, a little wrapped sprout. Every single little vegetable has been marinated in something, whether it's sesame oil or some sort of chili oil. They are so flavorful. This is mind-blowingly good. For something that seems so simple, it is actually incredibly complex. Guys, it is soup time. It was so funny. They had to warn me. They were like, we have a mushroom soup, but we're so sorry. It's not Western style. And I was like, girl, I don't mind. I love a Chinese soup. I sound like such a tryhard, but it's true. These are so good. I haven't tried this one though, but let's see. Whoa. Guys, it's like sweet. It's salty. We've got goji berries again. We've got a jujube, I think. All types of rehydrated mushrooms, and when they're rehydrated, that makes them much more flavorful. Obviously, I ordered the Oriental meal. Wow, the soft product so far is just remarkable. I'm genuinely blown away by the quality of everything, clearly the thought that's gone into everything. So I mean, I'm only 2 dishes into my meal, but also I just have to mention how the crew are so adorable. Every time they want to do something, like literally she had to move my glasses a bit to fit everything on the table. She was like, may I please move your glass? May I please do this? I'm like, yes, you may do anything. One thing I also love is that the crew was explaining to me that the soup has medicinal qualities, which that is truly another element to an in-flight meal. To have something that also makes you feel better, I think is, I mean, not that I'm sick, but I love that idea. At this point, I asked the crew if I could see one of the regular meals, and it turns out they're just preparing their online exclusive A5 Wagyu for the 1 other passenger who's flying first class today. It's amazing to see the crew's attention to detail as they're plating this meal. They are treating it like an art. As I wait for my main course, I take a little wander around the cabin, and it really emphasizes that, wow, this is stunning. Can you spot first class there in the first row? Here is our main course, which they are calling an eggplant and pumpkin rice. This portion is insane. I love my food. I'm a massive foodie, but I don't know how I'm going to handle everything I've eaten in the last like 3 hours. What I think is such an art about Taipei catering specifically is that they really try to incorporate all these different colors. So we have purple, we have yellow, we have red, we have orange, green. This really makes it look so appetizing when you don't just have one color. Even though they don't have to put this, even though it might not even taste that good, like this is a radish, I think. Just adding it makes everything pop. It makes it more elevated. Again, it's so rare to see this level of thought go into airline meals. I swear airlines make huge announcements about partnering with famous chefs or revamping their menus, but most of the time, the food isn't creative, it isn't unique, and it doesn't reflect the culture of the airline this well. Okay, it is fruit plate time. I am so stuffed, but this is just so beautiful. I don't know what to say. I'm ready for more. I just have to read you this because I ordered another interesting drink from the Starlux menu. It's called the Wunzhou Red Bean Essence. So it says red bean essence is extracted from Hokkaido red beans and is unique in that each red bean remains intact during the process. The key to maximizing the benefits of red bean without releasing any carbohydrates. Further, no sugar or artificial flavoring has been added. The result is an extraordinary product that helps increase body metabolism and is convenient for today's fast-paced lives. Sounds like something for me. Fast-paced life, you could almost say non-stop life. So let's try it. Red bean essence. Basically tastes like warm water with a slight red bean touch. But I mean, if it's healthy, why not? Why not? Wow, very ripe pineapple. They also served this little cracker, which they said goes with the fruit, but it looks like a seaweed cracker. So I'm like, does that go with fruit? Seaweed cracker, maybe not worth it in the context of everything I've eaten so far today. Our adventure through the world of Taiwanese food continues. This time we've got 3 different desserts. We have a white fungus jelly with, I think, red date. Then we have a mango and aloe jelly. So more jelly. And finally we have stuffed apricots and a matcha cube cake thing with gold leaf on it. This is really an adventure in the best way possible. All the food has been incredible so far. 10 out of 10. Very light, slightly sweet, slightly umami. Let's see this. The mango and aloe jello. The mango flavor is so rich and very, very nice. Finally, for you guys, I'm gonna try the matcha cube. Okay, this is the best. I wish there was a whole dessert just with that. What can I say? It's about an hour and 20 minutes until landing. The meal service has taken an hour and 40 minutes from takeoff, but it's been so elaborate. Very expensive meal, to be fair, if you consider the price of the ticket. But I would say the meal at least has very high quality. I love matcha. I love mango. I'm gonna see what other stuff I can manage to order before the flight is over. So that wraps up the food segment. Now there's only a few more things to discuss. Should we start by getting the less good part out of the way? Okay, so let's play around with the recline, because Starlux makes a big deal out of their 0G recline mode, and I've been waiting to try this because they don't have it on their A330 Neo. Ooh. Oh.
Oh.
Wait, where's our 0Gs? Ooh, whoa. I will say I still feel gravity. Okay, so this 0G thing, I get it in the sense that every part of your body is supported. It's sort of like contours to your body. So your entire back, your entire legs are all supported, which makes it a very relaxing position to watch a movie, I guess. The seat is perfectly padded, very comfortable without being too soft or too hard. So, yeah, 0Gs for the win, I guess. Now, let's try bed mode, because that's where, if you're on an overnight flight, which almost all of their long-haul first-class flights are, and you're lucky enough to be trying this, that's the mode you'll spend the most time in, I assume. Okay, block your ears if you don't want to hear me say something mildly critical, because here we go. We're in a very expensive first class. I guess this is the time to tell you that the price point for their first class is really above almost anything you'll find in the rest of the world, at least in the rest of Asia, and they sort of rival La Première from Air France when it comes to priciness. So this specific flight, for a 3-hour flight, I paid $2,600 for my ticket. This and Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh, I think, are the cheapest routes to try Starlux first class. But that is still a lot of money for a 6-hour flight. That is almost $2,000 more than the price of business. When it comes to something like the bed, for example, this really does feel more like a business class bed in terms of the spaciousness. Obviously, this is kind of a business plus kind of seat, but I think it is very noticeable when you're looking at the bed and bed mode that it just isn't as spacious as almost any other first class you'll find. And the thing that really sort of rubs me the wrong way is that if you're charging these prices, they didn't load any bedding on this route. They said it's only for Singapore and long haul flights, which I'm like, okay, first of all, last time I flew Starlux as well, there was something that was like, oh, that's only for Japan flights. So I think it's a little bit random when you restrict certain benefits to certain routes. But what is crazy is that people are paying for one of the most expensive first class products that you cannot redeem miles for, and they don't even load bedding on a 3-hour flight. It's not like you 100% need it, but if I had paid to fly this from the US over $10,000 for this product, and I didn't want to enjoy the food and drinks on the second flight. I just wanted to sleep. And then I found out that they didn't bother to load a mattress, a real pillow, or a duvet. That just feels like an obvious area for improvement to me, because we're talking first class, and this is really a product that differentiates itself with the soft products, because this is not a typical first class seat. So if you're not going to differentiate it to that extent where you're offering bedding, then what's the point? Another thing they didn't load, which isn't really a big deal, amenity kits. You only get slippers, which are quite nice and plush looking. Actual amenity kits are only for long haul flights, just like the bedding though. When I ask about it, the crew is apologetic, and they bring me this huge selection of goodies, pretty much anything you could need anyway. Look, the crew gave me this little Peanuts X Starlux bag to bring some of the amenities home. I'm bringing this for my cousin's son, who I adore. You know, you gotta start him early. He's 2.5. Airplanes, it starts very young, so to get him hooked, I need to think strategically, and that's what I'm doing. And then maybe I'll just give him these candies as well as extra bribery, and he'll be like, Starlux, what is that? Do they fly to Gothenburg? Absolutely not, dear child, but I will teach you better ways. Let me also teach you guys better ways, because we cannot say goodbye to Starlux without having the best drink of all time, bubble tea. Okay, the time has come for me to fill up on my lifeblood, bubble tea, my first ever time having this in flight. Starlux unfortunately doesn't have oat milk, but that's no big deal. I'll take it black, and you can't even really see that there are pearls in here, but this is bubble tea, so it's just without the milk, black tea and pearls. Moment of truth. Okay, this is more fun for the novelty of being able to drink this in flight. The pearls are obviously not something that you would find at a bubble tea place on the ground, but this tastes delicious. The food and drinks on this flight are really something else. That is what sets this apart, as well as the in-flight service. If you don't like bubble tea normally, or you don't drink milk, try it black like this on board. That is delicious. And we also have a hot towel. And with that, we start our descent into Bangkok. Even though this was such a short flight, I had a blast. Although I mentioned a few areas for improvement in this video, this was all around an exceptional experience. Okay guys, as they play vibey jazz music, I guess this is jazz, it's like a really turbulent descent, and we're just like, woo. So let me tell you what I thought. I cannot believe Starlux First Class has been around for several years, yet I'm one of the first people to be able to review it on YouTube. That is because of you guys, because you watch my videos and you support me, that I can afford to pay for a ticket like this, and I don't need to get it sponsored or anything by the airline. And I have to say, the crew, they didn't know I was making a video, but they've been so accommodating. I asked them if I could come to the galley and take a photo of as I always say, of one of the regular meals. They allowed that. They brought out all types of amenities. They've just been amazing. The crew, the food, those are the highlights, the food and drink. And then of course the ground experience just before the flight was amazing, but truly one of the best in the world, rivaling Air France La Première, and then I would say it's even better than the likes of Lufthansa and Swiss, and of course of almost every other airline in Asia, including Singapore Airlines, which otherwise has my favorite first class in Asia. The seat, on the other hand, I leave this question up to you. Do you think the soft product, so everything I've just mentioned, or the hard product, the seat, which doesn't change from flight to flight, is more important? Let me know in the comments below if you would rather have an amazing seat, more Kuwait Airways style, a very comfortable seat with less impressive service and food if you had to choose, or more impressive service and food and a slightly less impressive seat. That's not to say the seat is not beautiful and comfortable and lovely, it's just not quite on the level of most other airlines in first class. So I'll have a few final words after we get to Bangkok. I think the fun of the ground experience will continue there, but it has been so much fun to get to experience another take on first class that we haven't really seen other airlines do before. Upon arrival, I'm greeted by Bangkok Airport VIP services who whisk me off, cut through every line, and drop me off at the car, taking me into the city about 20 minutes after landing. Talk about a full-on ground experience. That is truly where Starlux First Class shines. So Oskar arrived on EVA from Taipei as well, like 40 minutes before me.
Sure did.
But Starlux allowed him to come in the car with us, which is awesome. And by the way, now I'm mentioning this at the end, but this is the first airline I've ever experienced where you have like a concierge reach out to you before over email to coordinate everything, to let you know about all the services, to ask for preferences, like a 5-star hotel. So that's where I said Oskar is landing like 40 minutes later. Is it fine if he comes in the transfer? They said 100% yes.
Like, God, no.
But I thought that was generous of them. So in conclusion, Starlux, 10 out of 10 ground service. Oscar's been on EVA business, so he hasn't exactly suffered, but
It's an economy. What are you talking about? He always books me an economy. I don't know what this is. He's trying to convince you of something that's much.
I'm going to put a photo of him so you see the proof. Although I have some constructive criticism, I think there could be, or there should be bedding. There could be an amenity kit. It's not as necessary, but it's a nice token. But everything else I have just loved. After my business flight, I wouldn't say I was like, wow, I love them. But now after this flight, I can say I'm a huge Starlux fan, even though I paid a lot for it. So on that note, we will see you in the next video. Don't forget to give thumbs up to this video. Thanks again for 1 million subscribers, guys. That is crazy. My first video after 1 million.
Yeah.
I don't think there's like a more appropriate video than Starlux First Class. So we'll see you in the next one. And until then, as always, fly safe.